Welcome to the Next Question podcast here at Maxwell Studios. We got a full house today.
Wow.
And Patrick Dearborn, we got
unprecedented, man.
Unprecedented.
Look at the audience out here. You got Mar-a-Lago members. You got Trump
Bradley
people.
Cooper's even
You got
here.
Bradley Cooper's in the house. Shemaine Nugent. Ted Nugent's wife was just here.
Scott
I mean,
Stonebreaker.
Scott Stonebreaker, huge. One of the biggest builders in America.
Absolutely.
Boots a little dirty, though, but yeah, he's in here.
He's a working man, dude. That shows that he's out there at
And
the
Ricky Haas just shot the baby gap before he came in. Got his skinny jeans on, his tight T-shirt.
Next Question podcast. Sure, they get yelled at for them, and Ricky doesn't wear one. But who's our special guest today?
Listen, man, I'm honored. I got to hear this guy just get grilled by a bunch of questions here at the Women's Republican Club of Naples Federated. Say that name 13 times fast. Guys like Dan Kowal, Chris Hall, local guys. And then David really held his own. I thought did the best job of anybody running for District 22 in the audience.
Really?
And I did, yeah, I did know he was law enforcement. So him and Dan Kowal were sharing some stories. So listen, you put together law enforcement, you put together a distinguished Marine career of serving our country. I love the video your guys showed me of you with the body cam running towards danger.
That's
Listen,
right.
We can talk shit all we want. You got to be a special kind of person and maybe a little bit crazy up here to run towards fire.
Don't let the hair fool you.
You got great hair, by the way, man.
Really?
I'm not kidding. Great head of hair. Might be the first guest in episode history, better hair than Pat Gyra and
Joe
Pat
Pavage. And Joe Pavage. Does he have Joe Pavage hair?
No, way better than Joe Pavage.
That's what
Joe Pavage has hair implants. So, I mean, and he gets Botox.
Anyway, let's get a formal introduction.
Yes. David Burck, man.
David Burck,
Marine,
candidate for
law
Congress.
enforcement candidate for
22.
Congress for District 22. We are glad to have you on.
I'm happy to be on.
Brother.
Happy to be on. One more thing to add to that is my off ramp from law enforcement was actually working alongside Charlie Kirk, building out the fundraising apparatus down here.
I never leave home without this bracelet, man. They took in our lifetime, they took a prophet from us, a walking, talking prophet, and I, in my heart, believe he would have been the president of the United States and arguably the greatest president ever. Wow. And they took him from us, man. They murdered him.
And not only with Charlie was he practiced what he preached. He really walked the walk. I mean, everything from behind the scenes that you don't see. What you would imagine on camera is what he was amplified times 10.
Tell us about that. So walk us through, because we're huge Charlie Kirk fans, and we will be not only in this life but also up in heaven. I can't wait to hang out with him and share some more stories. I was blessed to meet him 3 times, but you were friends with him. You travel with him. I know Maria and John met you through a Charlie Kirk event. I know you went over their house and used they told me you used their steamer and coffee maker and all kinds of stuff. So tell us about how you met Charlie and why. Tell us about that journey.
I'll give you the winding journey, right? Yeah. So, I grew up I'm a lifelong Floridian, first and foremost. Born in Tampa, raised in Palm Beach County, and went to school out there. And, when I kind of had a rough upbringing, my childhood wasn't the best. And what ended up happening is I joined the Marine Corps, right? I was like, I got to do something, not the best student, kind of figuring things out, just a young man that needed structure. And, I talked to the Army guys, talked to the Marine recruiters. I'm going to have to do it a little bit. You heard it today. I'm going to do a little bit.
I heard that story.
So, just for you. But no, they were like, hey, can't give you all that other stuff. Just come on board. Just come join the Marine Corps. And I'm like, yeah, this sounds pretty awesome. Let's do it.
Their uniforms are badass, by the way.
Yeah, and look, hey, look, not for nothing, but those recruiters at the time, and the Army guys, I gotta razz you a little bit. They were
not the best.
And the Marine Corps recruiters, they were just tight. And I'm like, that's
the best
tight.
of the
I
best.
I gotta do that. I gotta do that. But yeah, so joined the Marine Corps. I was at MP 5 years. It was my bid, so to speak. Got out, and I just kind of wanted to continue to serve. I actually wanted to go be LAPD afterwards. I'm like, that seems like that's where the action is, but it just felt like
LA.
In LA, yeah. But it was just not like, I'm not from there, have no ties there.
Yeah.
It would have kind of been like disingenuous.
What circa is that you wanted?
2013.
Okay.
And it all worked out perfectly, because even though the political environment around law enforcement down here was better, it was still those pressures that everyone in law enforcement was feeling when they say, park under a tree, don't do your job. Why are you stopping that car? Why are you going out with this guy? This, that, the third. And I didn't sign up to do that, to collect a check and for the benefits. I don't care about all that,
Yeah, I've seen videos of you and your social media. It's great because you can really peek behind the curtain. Those of us that didn't know a lot about you. I love the body cam footage of you running towards danger. And I'm going to get back to Charlie Kirk in a second, but when did you know at a young age, or what age were you when you knew, I'm a little bit crazy? If somebody's getting hurt, I want to go defend those that can't defend themselves. I want to run towards the gunfire. I want to run into the burning building. Either you can do that, or you can't. It doesn't make us any better than anybody else.
No,
I'm wired
just
that same
wired
way.
differently.
When did you know that?
I've always been kind of drawn to it as a kid. I mean, I remember in like elementary school, all these, like 5th grade specifically, I had a book of like all the special forces, you know what I mean? Like a special forces book. And in 6th grade, my favorite movie was like Black Hawk Down. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
I love that movie.
I was like,
heartbreaking at times.
Yeah,
Great
100%.
but it's just like, I've always kind of been drawn to it innately. And then, as I'm like, oh, what do I want to do when I grow up? I'm like, well, cop seems cool. So there was no formal Explorer program or, youth mentorship. So I'm like, well, I think the best way to fast track that for me would be, through the military, amongst other reasons too. But, there was a subtle shift when I joined the Marine Corps. I'm like, all right, this is, you just have a much different perspective. And you learn, obviously, unity, teamwork, sacrifice, where a guy from South Florida gets on with a guy from Washington State, from a, backwoods guy from Louisiana, but you're all bonded through service.
Brotherhood.
You're bonded through brotherhood and service to the country. And I would implore any young man who's either in my position or maybe better circle, whatever the case may be, enlist and or, if you're in college, go get your commission and be an officer. I'd say enlist though, because that's really where you learn.
1,000%.
That's really where you learn where the rubber meets the road.
I was enlisted too, man. So again, that's a call to serve. Pat and I had a notion to do this podcast show. We've had a variety of characters on here, and yes, it is primary season. And look, we're rooting for. We want good people to win on primary Tuesday, next Tuesday, the 18th. And for those in our audience that are going to see this clip between now and Tuesday, is early voting over? I don't even know. I've been working the polls. Is early voting end tomorrow, and then there's a couple of days of lull, then Tuesday?
If I'm not mistaken, it's Sunday.
So
fact check.
Yeah.
Today, tomorrow, Sunday.
And then no Monday.
Nothing.
And then Tuesday.
So Monday we drink heavily, and then Tuesday we wake up, we go vote, and we hope that we get some patriotic, veteran, former law enforcement, some good people in office. Common sense. Common sense, by the way, was a theme I heard today. And that's what struck me about you. Dan Kowal was there. He's a common sense guy. We're big fans of Dan. I love that leaders. I think it makes a great leader having that law enforcement, law and order, right from wrong, no gray area background. But I want to go back to Charlie Kirk. Speaking of right and wrong, so tell us about how you connected with him, because man, that to me just gives me goosebumps.
It was pretty wild. So I don't want to say I was actively looking to leave the job, but it was one of those situations where I was. I've always loved conservative ideas, especially I did my own research into things. And I'm like, all right, back like 2010, I was like really like, all right, like the Tea Party movement. I'm like, all right, these guys really have, these guys are spitting facts.
This guy was Tea Party.
They're
Byron
like, all right,
Niles,
that's what they're.
To the top of a pickup truck by the 7-Eleven down here.
You and Byron.
First speech, yeah.
Diane Harris was there with you, and Erica.
Yeah.
Harry Wilcoxon in a blue suit.
Harry Wilcoxon.
I feel like President Trump really mainstreamed the Tea Party movement. He brought that sentiment, and he was the sort of bullhorn that was able to really broadcast that across the country to say, why are elected representatives, like the neocon class and the neoliberal class, why are they not, why are they selling us out? Why are we always entangled in these forever foreign wars? And that was what the Tea Party stood for. President Trump just injected steroids into the movement and brought it
a
to
bunch
the
of
masses.
testosterone, a bunch of business savvy for sure, and a pair of big cojones, man. That's what he injected.
Absolutely.
How would you compare Trump's second term to his first term? I know we're only almost 2 years in, but compared to his first term,
I think in this term
it's a loaded question. Be careful.
He's
trying to set you up.
No, not at all.
No, but what he's able to do is he knows how the game is played now. He knows how the levers are pulled. He knows that
he's got majority, which
he's got the majority.
Yep.
And
why can't we still get shit done? Damn the swamp.
I'll comment on that because I had some insight from some of the DC people in a convoy I had, but he's got the right people in the right places.
Yes.
Because for his first term he was being completely subverted by the people who were supposed to
booby trapped every week,
despite all those obstacles.
He did.
Absolutely.
I thought he did great in his first term. If it wasn't for COVID, I think he would have won in a landslide. And obviously we can get into a rigged election too, but
100%.
Well, so in this election, or in this term rather, he just knows. He knows he's more savvy to the because you get up there and he just hits the ground running, and the obstruction that occurs at every corner. And as I'm learning in this process, your chief of staff is the most important person that you can have on your team. They're basically the vanguard for your whole camp. So getting the right person in place.
Susie Wiles,
she's a bulldog, and she's holding it down. So I think he's been much more effective and efficient this term than he was in the first term. He knows what he's doing, and he doesn't have to position for re-election, so he can really deliver wins for the American people,
huge,
and not have to hedge on certain things to garner the popular sentiment in his next race. So look, I support the president, what he's doing. He's pushing it. He's really the first president that I've had in my lifetime. Granted, I was born in 1990, so do what you will with that.
You missed Reagan. Reagan definitely was. Yeah. I got 3 bobbleheads of presidents at my office.
Who would you put on your Mount Rushmore for president?
Oh, wow.
Your own personal Mount Rushmore. I'm trying to get some questions in today, Pat. This is your own personal.
Yeah.
You get 4.
Yeah, okay, we got Trump for sure. We got Reagan. We got Washington. We got Lincoln, I would say.
That's a pretty good 4.
Well,
that's
we've had a couple obscure ones from different guests. One of them throughout
Calvin Coolidge.
No, it wasn't Calvin Coolidge. United the nations of whatever.
Oh.
No, it was obscure.
I know. Yeah, no.
Was it Andrew Jackson?
No, it was someone.
Anyway, we're drawing a blank. So
either way, it was
you're
obscure enough
for-
or not.
Your 4 or my 4 for sure. Trump is definitely on that Mount Rushmore for sure. I think it was.
Yeah. That's a good choice.
But I like the 4 you have. I'm in complete agreement with the 4 you've got. Before Pat derails us again with these little questions, let's get back to Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, so
that's why I'm here, man. Because I'm serious.
Charlie Kirk.
Looking, that guy's my guy, man. I freaking love that guy more than I love Trump. Like Charlie is the guy. So tell me how that whole thing came about. You leave law enforcement. How'd you jump in with him?
One of his, as I was building out my book of business, I was introduced. I was connected in my broker's business. Yeah, we got. I think we should
Bradley
bring
Cooper's in the
we should
house.
bring that up.
Wow.
Here, hold on.
Come here, Bradley Cooper. By the way, come here. No, come
Wow.
here. Real
Come
quick.
here. Come here up here.
We got a
We keep saying
tomahawk.
Bradley Cooper allegedly, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not the real Bradley Cooper. But tell me this guy, this gentleman right here, does not look like Bradley. What is? Oh my goodness!
That's a Wagyu tomahawk.
Scott,
Just come sit here for 1 second. Sit here for 1 second.
can I
All
see
right.
that?
Yeah, you can
Wow.
That's a 3.5 pound tomahawk.
Three
NQ 2026. That's the day job.
and a half pound tomahawk. Ricky, you could hit a baseball with.
Guy looks
this
like
thing out of
Bradley
the park.
Cooper right now, ladies and
Big
gentlemen.
shout out to Bradley Cooper.
Listen, guys.
Not in shape Bradley Cooper. This is more like kind of like cracked out
I think I got
4-day
Larry
Vegas bender Bradley Cooper. But I love them both.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, guys. My day job, I get to sell Wagyu all over the country.
Look at the size of
It's
this
just
thing,
very.
Pat Dearborn.
It's great. Listen, that's a 2026 gold medal now, Mr. Dearborn. So when you try that, don't hurt.
So
yourself.
tell me, I hate to say the word though, but tell me about screw worms.
Why is
I got
Pat
screw
Dearborn
worm. We got
getting
screw
this?
worms in this stuff.
No screw worms in that. That's a 93.7% genetics.
And where's that from?
Purebred. That's from Australia. That's from Sinku Farms. But
That's
like I said, we're here for
Australian
David
Wagyu.
Burck.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
wanna get you
Sorry,
on here.
sorry.
I just want to give you that tomahawk.
Bradley Cooper endorsing him is a big deal. We're glad to have you.
I'll hold on to this
Wow.
for you.
Love that guy.
Look at that tomahawk.
All right.
This thing. Yeah.
I got an Army Ranger
Sorry,
back there waving his hand going.
It's
"Let's
great.
bring
No,
this
no,
to
but
you."
when we've got live beef on set, we
Live
got
beef
it.
on
That's
set.
live beef.
Live beef.
Folks. But no.
Next question podcast show. We have the meats. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
But no.
Literally.
I was introduced to through
Kirk.
one of his right-hand guys that was there at like ground floor, and I was connecting with one of the original donors with Turning Point, and he was like, Charlie Kirk, and I'm like, yeah, I know Charlie Kirk. I've been following the path. I've been the Student Action Summits used to be in West Palm when they were still growing, and I've been to a few, and then he said, introduced me to his lieutenant, and we kind of got off, and we hit it off, and we were connecting, and then that was probably 2019 timeframe, and then I went to another friend's wedding that he was there, and we were just going back and forth. And in 2020, when all the craziness was going on, that's obviously probably politically radicalized most people when they saw, they're like, wait a minute, this isn't we conservatives, we can't play nice in the sandbox anymore. This is what the left is willing to do. And they use George Floyd as an excuse. But if this is what the left really believes in, then everybody wakes up. And then at the state level, you see it was a race to the fundamental ideology of each party. The Democratic Party went for lockdowns, shut everything down. If you're not in the circle, you can't move. You can't go if you don't own French Laundry in Napa Valley, you tell everyone else to sit outside, and then you go sit inside. And then, in the red states, kept it open, make your own individual decision.
Florida led the way,
Vax
for
if you
sure.
need to vax. wear a mask if you need to. If you find it with your personal health decision to do that,
Good for
and
you.
then that's it. Take care of yourself. But to make everyone else suffer, that's not a solution. So in that time, he's like, we're chatting. He's like, would you want to come fundraise for us? We're trying to build out the apparatus. And I'm like, let me think about it. And dude, it was.
Pause 1 second. So
Yep.
you're a decorated Marine, law enforcement. I would think maybe, of course, in hindsight now, I'm not, again, it pains me, the security around this man. Was there ever talk about you coming on just because of your background, being that security guy for him, being like his bodyguard and traveling with him? Or they brought you in because
I was just fundraising because, we had some mutual connections.
Okay.
I was delivering on the message and I was communicating it. And I don't know.
People
I think I'm
were
pretty
drawn to it.
likable.
Okay.
And so I was just going out there. That's where I met, John and Maria. Our first supporter. My first supporters at Turning Point, but
ultra MAGA fanatical people, love them to death, man. All heart, those people. All heart.
So you get on. You go through the onboarding process. Go out there to Phoenix, and like I'm in it. Like I'm in the epicenter of the grassroots movement, not only for the youth, but in general. I mean. Yeah. Turning Point changed the course of the 2024 election just through the grassroots and get out the vote effort.
1,000%.
But when we were there working with Charlie, it was always, he was always pleasant. He kept everything above board. He was extremely myopically focused on the mission. Like he did not deviate one bit. Got a really good opportunity to meet and know Mikey McCoy. Mikey's a legit guy, and Charlie's thing was he didn't want to his chief of staff, who Mikey was effectively. He's like, I spend more time with Mikey than I do my girlfriend, and then fiance and now wife. So he wanted to be a guy for obvious reasons. He didn't want the allegations. He's spending more time with someone on the road. Like he's like,
I got Pat Gyra as my co-host. Otherwise, the Tam would be talking. That's why I get a female co-host. I got Pat Gyra.
But no, I mean he practiced what he preached, and then when we would. It's not always perfect. There was a little run a show issue out here. He reached out. He's like, hey man, sorry about that.
Wow.
There's a little,
always.
politics, and it's fine. Whatever. It is what it is. But he reached out to me and he's like, hey man, sorry about that.
That's cool.
And on top of that, going back and forth. And, when I was running in the old district, he gave me a shout. He's like, yeah, your best friend, Lois Frankel, who's the Democrat incumbent on the East Coast, kind of like razzing me a little bit. But, it was an amazing experience to see him work, to see him operate. He didn't care. We were at an event in Miami, and this guy who is a big developer down there, could have been a big donor, asked him about Jeff Flake. He's Jeff Flake is like, well, I like Jeff Flake, and Charlie just ripped into him. And this guy, could have wrote a massive check, and he just let him have it. And it was pretty epic to see because he didn't hedge in public, he didn't hedge in private, and that's why people were so drawn to him.
People that I know that know you say the same thing about you. Did you learn those? Did you hone those skills more and what you stand for more? Your integrity, not willing to back down for any reason, for any donor. Did some of that instill in you from Charlie Kirk and working with him?
I definitely learned the rhythm, and how to do it. But I think it's just who I am. I just I don't know. I feel like people, whether you like what I'm going to say or you don't like what I'm going to say, you'll appreciate the honesty and the authenticity behind it. Okay. You can't hedge, even if it, even if it gets you a little, some jeers and some sneers. I'd rather be authentically me than be a sellout or be, fake. And people can pick that up. They can feel that. You're not even safe behind the camera. People can see that.
I know they got a busy schedule. I know you guys need to run. What makes you the best candidate for District 20?
Great question.
That's a great question.
Question.
My pitch is simple to the voters. You're a servant or you're not. And you can work up to it. And I feel like some people are just ingrained with that spirit of service and understand what service looks like, understand what sacrifice looks like, understand that, you're not going to specifically to DC to go up there and do Fox News hits and go run your mouth and go talk all this stuff and blah, 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 blah,
and
blah.
Make deals
but do nothing
doors.
And trade and, go on prop bets and stuff like that. You're there. We were in Clewiston the other night, 2 days ago, actually. We literally went from wrestling gators in Clewiston, and there's going to be images of that. But I'm serious. And then to a yacht in Palm Beach for a fundraiser the next day. And you see that, I don't want to say disparity, but you see these salt of the earth people that are out there in Clewiston.
Oh yeah.
They just want a representative that's going to represent them. And the more I travel this district, initially I came in, I'm like, yeah, they asked the subcommittee question. I'm like, forward intelligence and armed services. And I'm like, because that's my background. But then the more I learn the district, the more I become acquainted. I'm like, okay, if I'm going to do this job, it's got to be ag and natural resources, because that is the main vein of this district and where the knowledge gap exists. And I don't posit that I know everything. I know what I know, and I don't know what I don't know. And I'm humble in that, and going out and talking to these business leaders and these community leaders in the Glades and saying, hey, what are your pain points? What can I do for you? Because that's what service is. Service and sacrifice both start with an S, and that's for a reason. So, you have an idea of what you want to do, but how are you going to deliver for your people? And how are you going to keep those lines of communications open? So I would say, to position myself, it's all about service, man. It's literally, and it's service from, it's walking and chewing gum at the same time. It's service on the legislative front, but it's also being a fighter when you need to be a fighter, whether it's for the president's agenda, whether it's for Christian values, whether it's for, just truth in general.
Fighting for Southwest Florida, fighting for Henry, fighting for Collier, fighting for West Palm.
Fighting for the country, fighting against the DSA, mind you, because they're winning, folks. And like I said earlier, I said there's a woke 1 is what they're calling it. That means there's a woke 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And those iterations are going to get more manicured. They're going to become more palatable, how they position the verbiage. And look, with leftists, with the left in general, and progressives, if you're not progressing, what do you become? You become a conservative. So as they keep continuing to progress, they get more and more radical. I said it a few years ago, and they said they're going to try to make pedophilia a sexual preference. And sure enough, they have an acronym, MAPS, look it up, MAPS, minor attracted persons. That is now what they're trying to normalize. But the DSA is the legislative apparatus of that culture war. So, that's in the cards. And their rhetoric's going to grow louder. Their platform's going to grow because, we need to message that, hey, conservative values, it's not about handouts, it's about opportunity. It's about creating policy that creates opportunity, that doesn't burden you with regulation and burden you with taxes. It gets that off your back. It opens the floodgates so you could pursue whatever dream you want.
That's awesome, man.
You got it. I've heard, great things about
unbelievable.
This
why are you going to win it? Why and how are you going to win on Tuesday? Tell me how and why in 1 minute or less.
Well, you can't buy the will of the people.
Cannot.
You cannot. You have to meet them where they're at. You have to work hard. You have to roll your sleeves up. And that's what we're doing. That's what this fantastic team is doing every single day. We've got real authentic buy-in. We've got an Army Ranger Purple Heart veteran who's out there absolutely
he don't smile
pounding
a lot, though. He's ready to kick my ass.
This is the most.
That's it.
I gotta say, I've been around politics for a long time. You have definitely one of the most interesting teams.
Well, you know what?
And I mean that in a good way.
And fans too.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, it's because I feel like we're having fun.
Yeah,
that's the big part.
Absolutely.
We're detached from the outcome. We're praying on it, but we have horse blinders on, 4-foot vision. We're just doing step by step. And despite being outspent by orders of magnitude in the manner that we have, we are extremely, extremely competitive. And some of the other opponents know it, and we're not going to talk bad about them, but some of the other opponents know it, and we're there. We're nipping at the heels. Our message is landing. We're doing the hard work, and people are responding.
Real quick, I'm dying to know, what do you guys listen to in the car going to LaBelle? What do you guys put on real quick? And then we've got themes for different stretches, right? Okay.
So when we're going across the 75, we put on Seminole Wind by John Anderson.
Wow.
Because I mean, if you know it, you know the song.
I do. Wow.
You got it. You got to do it. You got to do it. On the way up,
guys wearing water moccasins, man. I mean, look out. Let's go.
We'll probably play.
Johnson.
We've been doing the Trump rally playlist because it's all bangers across the board.
Maria knows that every song by heart.
We got Gloria coming on. We got Nessun Dorma. And I was telling these guys, I'm like, this is the Mar-a-Lago patio banger list. Like, this is on the iPad. Pressing it, boom, boom, boom.
Double bourbons.
That's it.
Play it. So listen, man, as a veteran, I want to thank you for your service.
Yes. Thank you for having me on, man.
As
Absolutely.
a Marine.
Absolutely.
Thank you for law and order and being a law enforcement officer. We love that around here. We call this town Freedom Town, USA.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to have him back on this show.
That Freedom Town, USA.
I don't even know, but it's trademark pending.
It sounds good.
Pending.
You should do it.
You on this show, man.
Happy to be on.
Thank you. A pleasure.
Thank you for your time.
You got it.
Guys.
Bright star.
Go crush them on Tuesday. Guys, get out
David
and vote.
Burck.
Get out and vote, man. Get out and vote Tuesday, August 18th.
You know what? You can find me at on the Instagram, Burck4FL, and then also David Burck, not the chef, burck.com.
Okay, man.
Next question.
Next question.